So for the last month, there have been these fun little videos that appear on Facebook. They're like a minute and a half long. And they have some quirky little German suggestions for learning the language. The first couple were like, excuse me, where's the restroom? And like that. And then after that, they became kind of snarky. Like, hey, you're bleeding a lot. They're there to promote the new Colossus, which is a brand new Wolfenstein game. Wolfenstein has been around since, I think, the late 80s, when I think it was the very first first-person shooter came out, which is Escape from Castle Wolfenstein. And I remember it the most because, although I did play quite a bit of Castle Wolfenstein, there was a famous mod that these kids did where they changed all the Nazis into people from school. There was a PE teacher, a lunch lady, a basketball coach, hallmongers, etc. Wolfenstein was a pretty good game, especially for its time, and it's still quite fun to play. There have been several other versions over the years. I'm trying to think of the new enemy or something, the enemy within, whatever. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't great. Problem with doing a Wolfenstein game is it was cutting edge and, like the first of its kind. And now it's just another in a long line of games where you shoot things and run around with increasingly, dangerous weapons and explodey stuff. But, and don't get me wrong, I'll probably give it a shot because it looks pretty fun. I don't take video game reviews all that seriously. A lot of people said Prey wasn't going to be any good, and I loved it. I actually enjoyed Mafia 3, too. So, the thing that kills me is the alt-right is now pissed off at their slogan, which is making America Nazi-free. And there's all kinds of comments on the internet about how the publishers are now in league with the left, and they're all these different things. They're now with the anti-Nazi league. They're now fascists or blah, blah, blah. They're against white people. And the thing that kills me is, okay, the Nazis, they've always been the bad guys. The Nazis have always been the bad guys. Let me just repeat that again. Nazis, always been the bad guys. Were there Germans serving in the army who probably didn't know that they were a part of something truly evil? Sure. But that's not the point. The point is, the Nazis have always been the bad guys. World War II? Bad guys. Every video game featuring Nazis ever? Bad guys. I would actually like to see a video game maybe where the Nazis were the good guys if they were fighting something more horrific than them. I could totally see a detachment of German soldiers who were in some horrible place that they shouldn't have been in World War II, like, the castle of Vlad the Impaler or something, and fighting, undead monsters. Because at that point, then they're just a bunch of dudes who got drafted into the army who are trying to escape with their lives. But, by and large, Nazis, bad guys. I can't stress that enough. They're the real-life version of Imperial Stormtroopers. Like, they're the bad guys. Sure, they had cool uniforms. They were originally designed, I think, by Hugo Boss. However, yeah, bad guys. It's not a new thing. It's not something that they're doing in response to the media and people's outrage and the leftist agenda and blah, 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 or anti-Trumpness. It's the way it's always been. Every movie that's got Nazis in it, guess what? They're the bad guys. So, making America Nazi-free is not saying we're going to round up all the white people who are supremacists and get rid of them. It's saying that in this alternate reality video game that the Nazis took over America, and now it's time for there to be a second American Revolution. That's all it's saying. It's still pretty funny to me. like oh, they're the nut jobs. That would be like that'd be like if me and every person who ever goes to church got really, really pissed off about Far Cry 5. Which Far Cry 5 centers around a crazy cult of gun nuts who are doing something nefarious, and the main character is going to stop them. That's really all I remember. However, it is, they are a patriot group, an army, a homegrown militia, whatever you want. And they have a church ideology, which should be stamped out. They should kill those people, salt the earth, and maybe, rototill the whole place when they're done. That's kind of how I feel about stuff like that. But I'm kind of a reactionary, I guess. I think that, by and large, that people should respond to that sort of thing. I don't think that means that people who see that ad will go, oh, they want to kill everyone who goes to church. That's terrible. Yeah, I guess maybe. The other thing is, after World War II, us and the Russians, we took all the Nazi scientists. And maybe they were the smart Nazis. Because it doesn't seem like the people who identify themselves as Nazis today are particularly clever. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, how do you really go, yay, sign up to be a Nazi? It just seems like a bad plan. So yeah, the new Colossus is coming out, and I'm kind of excited to try it. And I have not been practicing my German, because I don't think I'm really going to need to speak German to kill the Nazis. I think I'm just going to need to blow stuff up. It'll probably be pretty hard. They had a lot of scary-looking monster stuff. One thing about the Nazis was they were very much into doing weird occult research. And that's one of the things that makes them such a great bad guy. Hello, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The idea that they actually got some of that stuff, pretty awesome. There was an Xbox 360 game, I can't remember what it was called, but it involved turn-based combat in World War II, and you were part of a special British joint task force, and you had a witch on your team and a dude who could transform into a wolf, I think, and the Nazis had zombies and vampires and maybe some werewolves of their own. It was a fun game. It was pretty much like Dungeons and Dragons, except in World War II and with tanks and rocket launchers. And it was a lot of fun. So, zombies, occult, bad guys, yeah, it all goes together. So yeah, that's today's takeaway, boys and girls. Zombies have always been the bad guys. Always. Nobody's ever like, oh, zombies, they're the good guys. Yeah, we should let them eat us. Ugh. Nazis, zombies, pretty much the same thing. Always the bad guys. the smart money would always be betting on Nazis being the bad guys. That's how that goes. So if that really deeply offends you, there's something wrong with you.